I believe the vast majority of you know full well what's coming up in this video, so let's not delay. For those of you that aren't sure what you are watching, I will put a link to the first video in this series in the description, and it should explain everything. Either way, it's time to eat. Top button always, bottom button never when standing, always unbuttoned when sitting. Unless it's 3 buttons, in which case, sometimes, always, never. I do owe you a thank you, whoever you were in the first video that pointed that out. It was absolutely correct and applicable advice, so thank you very much. Let's see what we've got here. Something's missing. Thank you. This first one is fresh off the press from Paul Perry Jones just 8 hours ago. Thanks for noticing. Hopefully it's not too distracting for you and you're still able to focus on the intended content of the videos, but then again, maybe that is the only reason you're there. In which case, totally cool and not a bad strategy. It's kind of like people who subscribe to Playboy. They can always say they're there for the information and articles, but we know why they're really there. Either way, I'm totally cool with it. As long as it keeps you as a viewer, I'll try to keep giving the money shots. Let's see what's next. Here's a pretty unusual one. Let me introduce you to Ohana Mama. I won't go through the whole thing here, but basically she is on a threefold mission apparently. The first one is her page dedicated to healthy organic island living at her home in Hawaii. The second cause is dedicated apparently to calling attention to all of her medical disorders, which is kind of ironic considering she's touting the advantage of healthy organic island living. And her third cause is dedicating herself to making sure that you all understand what a cruel, heartless, insensitive individual I am to the poor, because unlike her, I do not support the theory of allowing people who are on what used to be known as food stamps to buy Häagen-Dazs ice cream with them. Yes, indeed, that was the debate we had. Ohana's position is, as she states, that food is a necessity for people, and denying people the necessity of food is heartless and cruel. Well, first of all, I'm pretty confident that Häagen-Dazs or any ice cream is not a necessity, especially for people who are really, truly dependent on sustenance, which of course I support. I myself actually grew up on welfare and food stamps, believe it or not, as a kid. The whole intent of the program is to try to get people off of it, and allowing them to spend the money irresponsibly is, of course, counterproductive to that intent. Now, what kind of person would object to my reasonable philosophy? Pretty much one who would start a GoFundMe page seeking donations for a $500 camera to better vlog her new car and new house on the Big Island. Me. As far as insensitivity to the needy, let's compare how I spend my free time and its impact on the needy versus how Ohana spends her free time and how that impacts the needy community. First of all, as often stated, nearly all the vehicles I've repaired on my channel are for charity. It's either from people who are needy, who are elderly, and especially I have a sensitivity for those who are handicapped. Also, I'm showing people how to fix their own cars, which would definitely help people who cannot afford auto repair. Also, almost every check engine light repair that I've done is because the people ended up with their back to the wall because they have to register the vehicle and they can't because of the emissions failure. By getting the people their vehicles back and allowing them reliable transportation, it ensures them more stability with their jobs and keeping employed. And finally, unbeknownst to a lot of people, I actually make my pay channel available for free to all of my subscribers in third world countries. Now let's compare that with Ohana Mama. Her recent video discusses the memories her kids will always have from living in Hawaii. Certainly identifiable and relevant to the less fortunate. This next video shows an abandoned sugar mill on one of her island hikes. Now that is identifiable to the less fortunate. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. We had thousands of abandoned buildings all over the place. I don't think I'd walk into any of them though. Certainly not with children. And this video, yet another day of island living, tubing at the river. Possibly identifiable with the less fortunate, if that is her means of public transportation. Now, one of the things that I do want to show is that I am very charitable. And in fact, I'm going to prove it by being charitable to, of all people, Ohana Mama. So if we notice, Ohana only has about 2,100 subscribers and some 800,000 views. I have 90,000 subscribers and about 13 million views. So by just simply mentioning her website on my channel, I guarantee you it is going to promote far more activity on her channel, certainly on the views side. Now, admittedly, most of these views are going to be from guys looking for free fapping material from a MILF in a bikini. Here she is stroking a cock. But hey mama, I can totally identify and sympathize. That first guy watches my videos strictly for my cock. Alright, let's move on to the next one here. Yes, this ass hat. Troop BD. I think you guys will once again notice a consistency in this one. He writes, fuel trim gets better at higher RPM with dirty math and worse at higher RPM with vac leak. You stated it totally wrong. Get it straight if you're going to try to teach people. Well, as I would hope anybody who watches this channel for the diagnostic aspect knows, he absolutely has it completely bass-ackwards. So I respond, well, I would agree with you, but then we would both be wrong. Thanks for giving the complete idiot's point of view on the subject, though. There is no debate. A dirty MAF will show a higher fuel trim underload. It has to because of excess unmetered airflow causing a lean condition. There is no other possibility, as I correctly stated in the video. Instead of spouting hot air, what is the mechanism by which you explain the results you claim? Yeah, exactly. Okay, it's time for the predictable. You all know what comes up next after this. The justification through unbelievable credentials. Let's see if it happens. I have a stack of books right here from when I taught engine performance that I would love to show you that would explain why MAF fuel trim gets better at higher RPM, and then I would love to shove them up your ass. That's from a 20-year master tech in GM world-class tech, you hobbyist. Well, at least he got something right, finally. I am indeed a hobbyist. But I'm actually not offended by him shoving the books up my ass, because either way, he's clearly not reading them. So I will leave it to you guys to determine if he's really a former instructor and 20-year master tech. But if he is, won't be the first time I've had to correct a master tech on my channel. Let's see what's next. Ah, yes, a master tech. This is from Wise Tech 2000. Wise Tech. This is going to become a pretty oxymoronic name in just a minute here. Oh boy, he's got a lot to say. I actually have to switch to landscape to fit this in. What world automotive training experience have you had? I've been a government licensed, by the way, misspelled licensed, tech or requirement in Canada for 47 years and have hundreds of hours of training over the years, as well as thousands of dollars of tools, most of it paid for from my own pocket. Actually, all of my tools are paid for out of my own pocket. To keep in touch with the latest technology. Actually, tools don't make you keep up with the latest technology. Your knowledge and aptitude do. I agree there are many people who throw parts of cars hoping for a fix, and I'm not ashamed to say that I've done it myself a few times over the years. Most do-it-yourself repairs are because they cannot afford a professional to do it for them, and many may not be able to pay for your information either. You come across that you are far superior to many others on Wide 2, but you're just not. As far as giving it a thumbs down, that's person's right, missed an apostrophe there, to give their opinion on your channel. I think you should just suck it up and move on. As much as I like your repair videos, I think you're wrong, and I won't be paying for a subscription to your channel. I also think you might be starting a trend on YouTube. Go ahead and remove these comments if you don't like my opinion. People like Paul Danner have earned the right to charge for their info on a premium channel, and yes, I'm giving you a thumbs down. Okay. First of all, if you're going to be a wise tech, one of the characteristics of wisdom is showing consistency in your arguments. And this guy, quite honestly, is about as consistent as a compass in outer space. For those of you who don't know, what he's referring to by the right to earn money and the subscription and pay channels is when I started my pay channel a year and a half ago or so. And of course, he objects to having to pay $4.49 a month. Since, according to you, I am not qualified to do that because I don't have any real-world experience, which I agree, I do not have any kind of ASE certification, I'm not a mechanic, I am a hobbyist, it shouldn't really matter to you because you don't have to pay for the subscription. Obviously, why would you? There is no value there, so I really don't understand how you would be angry about that. I have absolutely no interest in watching the Home and Garden channel on my cable television, so I don't pay for it, and I'm certainly not angry that there's a fee for it. Especially if I thought the productions were amateurish. Look at this crappy kitchen design. The only skill these designers have is their taste in cock. The other thing is this guy obviously didn't think very clearly about his concern that I would start a trend on YouTube with the pay channel thing, because he states that Paul Danner, who by the way is a completely awesome guy, good friend of mine, I've met him in person, and I totally admit I can't hold a candle to the guy. He is truly a god and absolutely has more real-world experience than most people on YouTube combined. But the argument is that Paul Danner has earned the right to make a pay channel, and therefore he's okay with it. Well, I got news for you, my friend. That would be the person that would be setting the trend, that qualified individuals, by your definition, would make pay channels. Me, I'm not qualified. Why would I be setting the trend? So you're obviously not considering that too well. It also doesn't make sense that it is unfair that some people wouldn't be able to afford my pay channel if the information on that channel, according to this guy, is irrelevant because I don't have real-world experience. What are they missing? And the final thing is, as a mechanic of 47 years, as this guy says he is, pretty sure he didn't work for free during all that time. If he worked for free for 47 years, maybe I'd give him a little more respect. I'll tell you what I don't have a lot of respect for is those mechanics that have been around for 47 years and they think that all that computer and electronic stuff is all just a bunch of crap. Well, I've got bad news for you, old-timer. The distributors and the carburetors are never coming back because the new technology has almost quintupled fuel efficiency on vehicles while simultaneously increasing performance and safety. So it's not going away, it's actually going to increase. So don't be jealous of people who keep up with the technology, whether they're hobbyists like me or professionals like Danner, and they put what they know on YouTube to help others. If it's beyond your capacity to understand, maybe you should just move on, but I'm pretty much here to stay. By the way, why is it that guys like him never ever have their own channels to share all their vast experience? Speaking of getting paid, this asshat. Steve Smith. By the way, I've got to give kudos. Having the screen name Steve Smith without needing any suffix numbers or anything on the end of it, that is a 1 in a million thing. I don't know how he got away with that. Have fun thinking you're earning the big bucks, mate. You make mechanics are just always going to be to a diesel fitter. Apparently this guy thinks when you're rich you don't need to use punctuation, I guess. So, some advice for would-be trolls. One of the first things you really should do when you troll a creator is do your research on him, because otherwise it can come back on you pretty harsh, like what's going to happen here. So, as I make blatantly clear in all of my videos, I am not a mechanic. So when this guy compares his wage to me being a mechanic, well, he's going off of a dangerously false premise. Because the problem is while he doesn't know what I do for a living, obviously, we now know what he does for a living, which means that we can look up on a number of sites and get a pretty good idea of what his salary range is. So let's put it in perspective. If I were to wake up tomorrow morning and discover that I'm suddenly earning what Steve does per year, I'd put a bullet in my head. On the other hand, if Steve were to wake up tomorrow and discover he's making what I make in a year, he would go right back to bed because he'd want to keep that dream going. So, again, do your research. Well, here's a short one from TCICP. What a dick. Thanks for noticing. But stay tuned, because I promise you won't be disappointed by this next guy. This is Regin Rutna. Now, before we proceed, let's of course address the elephant in the room. What a cock. Whew, seriously, that has to be the biggest cock I've ever seen in my entire life. Well, maybe in the top 5. Top 10. Certainly within the top 10. Anyway, let's stay focused, get back to the matter at hand. And in case you're wondering why I'm going to come out unduly harsh on this guy for apparently no reason, take a look at his name again and spell it backwards. One advantage of being a scientist, good attention to detail, so I'm a step ahead on this one. Best solution is to pay someone to pass you for smog, since most of the time for emission you fix it and it still doesn't pass. Yeah, good luck with that. I do it all the time, you stupid. See? No you don't, because emissions places are state controlled in most areas, unless you live in a trailer park in Arkansas with your wife and mother, which is the same person in your case. I live in Arizona, you I hope you get killed by a bus. Too bad you live in Denver, or I'd do it myself, you Just what's really strange so far is he actually has perfect spelling, grammar, and syntax. I don't quite get it. Actually, I travel to Arizona every 6 weeks for work. Why not give me your address and I'll pay you a visit? Regin replies, 4062 Fresh Hour Circle, Phoenix, Arizona 85031. Come get some, big boy. Now, you may be a little concerned that I put this guy's address up on a video, but I deal with keyboard warriors all the time, and it's always the same thing. As you can see, a fake address. That address shows is invalid in Google Maps, MapQuest, and even my GPS device. Every frickin' time. Well, that's too bad because, oh shoot, almost made it through without any spelling errors there. It where I live. Oh, there goes the syntax and grammar too. All falls apart when you're nervous, I guess. Sound like you are just too pussy to come see me. So, how to deal with this dilemma? Is he telling the truth? Is he bluffing? Would I waste a trip out there? Don't worry. Like I said, I deal with these people all the time, and I'm not exactly the dullest knife in the drawer. No problem. If it's really your address, this is super easy. I just mailed a letter containing a code to the address. When you receive it, just respond with what that code was, and I'll make a special trip just for you. All right, let's see what became of it. Hey, did you ever get the letter with the code yet? Every single time. All right, let's wind up with a short one but good one. This is from Rob T. This video has reminded me why I quit watching this channel. Oh, God. Like I said, they always watch every one of my videos. All right, guys, I've got to get going on a trip here, but I'll be back with some new repair videos on both channels. And for those of you guys that justifiably were a little disappointed in the lack of content on the pay channel, do be advised I have put some new content up there, so maybe you should check it out. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found this entertaining. We'll see you next time.